Hey, what's up everybody? So this is going to be a different video than I normally do when it comes to the mukbangs. This video is actually sponsored by Tropical Media and Pan Roast Hawaii. I forgot that. I can't believe I forgot that. I was just talking about that with a friend earlier today about how there are new chefs coming about trying to make a living for themselves in this COVID-19 crisis. What this video will be about today is basically me critiquing the flavor and what can be done to further this company's future. So I hope that this will be fun for you guys. Hopefully it'll be fun for you as it will be for me because I get to eat. And again, thank you to Tropical Media and Pan Roast Hawaii for the sponsorship. Cue the title card. So we have, as promised, as I told one of my friends, I'll be doing this broadcast, plus I have my live going on. And again, I would just like to thank again the sponsors for this video, Tropical Media Group and Pan Roast Hawaii for this beautiful dish. I tried to plate it up as good as I can, but this is kind of a mixture of what they would call seafood, not seafood po' boy, but gumbo, mixed with a little bit of Hawaii influence. And just so that way the viewers can see over there, this is what we got. This is what we got working. So basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be talking about the food and talking about what I think the food's going to be good. But I've already had this dish. I have history with this dish in the sense that the first time I had it, it was very chunky, it was very all over the place. However, while it still was all over the place, the flavors were refined enough to where you could taste what the chef or the cook was trying to do. Pan Roast Hawaii did an excellent job of making the heat bearable. I'm Southeast Asian, and don't get this sweat fool you, I'm just fat. I can handle a little bit of heat, and generally when you're thinking about a gumbo or a pateli stew, you have that nice back heat, and this is what he does very well. A drink that I would recommend that goes with it to not only enhance the flavor, but to kind of mellow out the spiciness for those of you who are not spice heads like me, coconut water. Coconut water has a way of cutting through the spice or cutting through the capsaicin in the spice that makes it a little bit more palatable for most people instead of just drinking plain old water. I'm bougie like that. So open up my capsaicin and let's get, open up the cap on my coconut water. And let's get this first bite going. Now, for me, the best first bite is trying to get every little piece of seafood and every little piece of sausage. Traditionally with gumbo, from what I learned from my friends who lived in Louisiana, and more specifically New Orleans or NOLA, you don't generally combine chicken with seafood. It's a completely different monster. But with this, he's done it to where he took his own take on it. So this right here, oops, I already had the big gun. This right here, that right there, son, that right there, if it didn't fall off the spoon, it would be the first good bite. So, first good bite. Butter. Nice amount of heat. Ooh. In fact, it's a little bit more spicier than it was last time. But I do love the concentration of heat. I do love the balance of the little bit of sweetness that you get from the saute of vegetables or the sofrito, which I'm hoping he put the Holy Trinity in if he's calling it a gumbo. Now, for those of you who don't know what the Holy Trinity is for New Orleans cooking or Cajun cooking, it's bell peppers, celery, garlic, and a little bit of Old Bay. For me, Old Bay is what I always throw in there, or bay leaf, just to throw in there, and onions. So that way you have that sweetness of the vegetables to counteract a lot of the spice that's stewed for a very long time. And then on top of that, this wouldn't necessarily classify as a gumbo in that it's not dark enough. The roux is not chocolate. It's more of a light blonde roux, but it works really well. In regards to how he packaged it for reheating purposes, what I'm guessing he did was he undercooked the shrimp and undercooked the shellfish, so that way the person who's eating it can reheat it to where it's perfectly cooked. So here's shrimp. I don't really eat everything, but no. The shrimp was undercooked, and then when I brought it up to the heat, whether it be microwave or on the stove. I heated mine on the stove. It heated it gently enough to where it'll bring the shrimp all the way back up. Packaging wise, I would say this would work. The only negative is, especially with seafood, there are some customers that may have seafood allergies. What I would recommend doing is, instead of making a seafood broth, or because I do taste a seafood broth in here, it's not chicken broth, because if it's chicken broth, it's a little bit more earthier. Seafood broth is a little bit lighter, and with a lot of gumbos that I've had, they use a lot of chicken broth. They use a lot of the last gumbo that I had beef broth in it. Don't ever use beef broth with gumbo. But I did have it with chicken stock and chicken broth, and it gave it a nice richness and a nice depth of flavor. This one is a little bit lighter than what I'm used to as a gumbo. This will be more on the patelle stew side. But again, going back to the flavors, sorry, drew a little bit there. How it pairs well with the rice. We're talking a 10 out of 10. When we're talking about overall great flavors and his interpretation of what a gumbo as well as a mixture of a patelle stew is, he did it justice. But if he were to market this as gumbo, what I would recommend him doing is watching some YouTube videos on how to make gumbo, more specifically binging with Babish. The reason why I say that it's not so much a gumbo is because there is chicken pieces in here. If you look carefully at how he packaged the bottle, you'll see pieces of shredded meat on there. The texture through the meat comes through the sauce as well. So even though there's very little amounts of meat, traditionally gumbo as it stands, and actually you do have panels to white here in one of my lives on my Instagram. So basically, yeah, hey bro, I'm actually eating your food. We're actually doing the video right now live, so you're actually seeing the behind the scenes part of it. And also too, when you're thinking about gumbo in and of itself, you're also thinking about doing a, excuse me, editors, please cut this part out. Bro, this isn't that type of video. Delete your request, because right now this is actually a paid video. I cannot do any jump in lives and whatnot. This is actually a paid video for a friend that needs the promotion. So this is a promo video. I'm not going to be doing joint lives right now. So editors, please cut that portion out. I just have to address the viewer that wanted to jump in on the live and all of that. But again, going back to how this dish works really well is the way that he melted the spices. Panos Hawaii, what she did very well in cooking this dish was making sure that the seafood was cooked to temp, or cooked just under temp. And the reason why I say just under temp is because its portability makes it a little bit more palatable. We also have the seafood as a whole coming together, working really well with the heat. There is still a lingering heat that's not, I wouldn't say unbearable, because I'm used to the spice. Southeast Asian food has a lot of spice, more specifically mainland Southeast Asia. So I'm well acquainted with the spice. I do love it. For me personally, if I was to order this again, I would have it at this exact spice level. However, when it comes down to overall portability, as well as if you were to do a brick and mortar store, I would dumb down the spices, or rather add more mirepoix, which would basically be your holy trinity of onions, garlic, celery, bell peppers, and a little bit of bay leaf. And the reason why you want to add that little bit of bay leaf is to give you that pepperiness. I wouldn't use dried. In this case, I would use fresh. If you're going to call this a seafood gumbo, stick to seafood. Do not add your sausage. If you want to have a traditional chicken gumbo, do your chicken, do your sausage. But don't generally mix the two, because if you have somebody from New Orleans that comes down and actually eats your gumbo and you call it a gumbo, it's kind of a slap in the face to them. And you know how we local people are when it comes to our food. Like, for me personally, I get triggered when I see poke, and it's not really poke from Foodland, Sack and Saves, or places that I'm like. So when it comes down to keeping the dish's integrity, I would call it your own rendition, and then explain to them why you did what you did. Versus when you have these poke bowl spots and they say, oh, this is our rendition of authenticity. No, just say that this is your rendition of what the dish is, and not leave it at that. But in regards to, again, overall plating, I couldn't do it justice, just a simple plating. I had to show a little bit of the seafood because you prepared the seafood really well. If I were to critique that on your Instagram, I would actually showcase the seafood. Let's say, for example, you have a beautifully cooked chicken breast or a beautifully cooked chicken thigh. Show that off, butterfly it, put it on there, and show them what is actually in the gumbo, or show them what is actually in the stew, and let that be known that this is what you're selling. On top of that, what I would also do differently is have a little spice packet on the side, because there's not a lot of people that like the spice. I myself love it. Please put it in here. Please put it in here. But when it comes down to it, and I'm going to cut this this video short because my camera's about to die, I just want to say this. The dish that you prepared is 100% palatable for everybody to eat. The only thing that I would do differently, and that took me a long time to get to, was just add a little bit of spice on the side, so that way they see where you're getting at. But other than that, if I were to give this 10 out of 10, this would get a 10 out of 10 for me. Not because you a homie, not because you a homie of a homie, but because you put yourself on a plate. I saw you are in this dish. I saw who you are, what your goals are in this dish, and I can tell with everything that I am that you're gonna succeed, and Pan Roast Hawaii, your Instagram will blow up big. So go check them out, Pan Roast Hawaii. They're actually in the viewership right now. Go check them out. Go give them a follow. Go send them some orders. Go try this dish, and you will not be disappointed. And to the viewers that are watching this video from my YouTube channel, go check out Pan Roast Hawaii. I'll put their link in the description below, as well as within the video, as well as follow Tropical Media Group, who also sponsored this video. Thank you guys. Until the next video.